and gentlemen. As we step into the next phase of the summit, we explore how technology and human connection are coming together to redefine travel.
Today's travelers seek more than just a getaway. They crave tailored experiences that elevate their journey. And technology is making those experiences faster, seamless, and more interesting than ever before. From artificial intelligence to automation, the travel and tourism industry is transforming at a rapid pace. But behind those systems, it's the human touch that turns a trip into an unforgettable experience. So, a pressing question emerges. As we embrace technology, do we risk losing the human element that defines true hospitality? Or can technology enhance the personal touch rather than replace it? On our next panel, we explore how innovation and human connection can come together to shape the future of travel and tourism.
And for this session, I would like to invite my colleague Shivan again up on the stage, please, to lead this discussion forward. And joining Shivan for the discussion are Anil, panelists are Anil Parashar, Executive Director, ITQ Technologies. Welcome, sir. We also have Ratna Chadha with us today, Chairperson and Founder, TIRUN Travel Marketing. Parikshit Choudhary, Chief Business Officer, B2B and Customer Contact Group, MakeMyTrip. Ranju Alex, CEO, India and South Asia, Accor. And Mr. Hirendra Sen Dabi, AGM Tourism Corporation of Gujarat. Welcome, panelists. Over to you, Shivan.
Thank you, Nikita. Welcome to all the panelists here. I'm sure and I hope everyone's had a good lunch. And let's continue with the discussions. Reimagining tourism with technology, and of course, human touch, which can never go away. And I think that's what I want to come to very gradually with all our panelists and their levels of expertise. Mr. Dhabi, let me start right off with you. Gujarat mein, if you can tell us, there is a sense that one understands it. You know, anywhere you go in terms of hospitality, the experience starts right at the door. You know, it's that warm smile that someone gives to you. I think that's where that experience of hospitality already starts. Whether it's the serviceman, whether it's the valet, anybody. Just that human warmth. That itself starts that experience of hospitality, regardless of which institution or which hotel or level of hotel you're going to. But Gujarat की जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, इसमें how are we integrating technology and tourism? अगर आप मुझे थोड़ा सा बताएं.
See, as you said is correctly, like it can be technology and human touch can only be redefined. It can't be replaced because tourism is all about the real experiences, whether it is a tangible or intangible experiences, but it's all about the experiences. And whatever technology we introduce, we can't replace experiences with the technology. So yeah, Gujarat is already working on it, and historically हम देखने जाए तो we have introduced like technology in tourism, whether it is for promotion like AR, VR, or whether it is online booking, ticketing and everything. So we have introduced it since last few years, and we are also working to create more seamless experience for tourists who are coming to Gujarat in form of whether it is online booking or the real curated experiences we want to offer them. So yes, In fact, I can also say about the one destination, which is Statue of Unity, of course. So we have introduced lot of this kind of technology intervention to provide seamless experiences to the tourist.
ये personalized experiences जो हैं, I'll come back to you a little later just to explain more on that. Miss Alex, let me come to you with that. I was just thinking about when I was trying to put the questions together. When I was putting the questions together, I was thinking about, whenever I go to any kind of a hotel, and as I just mentioned, and while I was coming here as well, just the warmth with someone would take your bag, check it in. The valet who would take your car, the serviceman who will open the door for you. Can something like that, which is so personal, which has that human element, can that ever be replaced regardless of how much of AI starts getting integrated into the hospitality business or tourism at large? If you can just share your insights on that.
So I'll just take an example. Very recently, I think a couple of weeks back, I drove to Chandigarh. And I remember 20 years back, if you were to drive from one destination to the other, you would stop every 5 kilometers and say, Bhaiya, kahan se jana hai? Left lena hai? Right lena hai? And all of that, right? Today, the GPS makes life so much easier. Thankfully, for the last 2-3 years, it's also started telling you whether to take the flyover or not to take the flyover, which was not the case earlier. But at the end of the day, stopping at Murtal for the parathas and the chai and the buzz of the people, early morning buzz of people having chai, mujhe adrak wali chahiye, mujhe ilaichi wali chahiye, you can't take that away. A part of an experience to drive to Chandigarh, that is a critical part of the experience. And if I may take that example and put it in hotels, it's exactly that. Tech can tell you how you would like your coffee. Tech can tell you how many minutes before your bag reaches your room. But the tech can't take that bag and say, sir, would you like anything else? Would you like me to show you the room? Or here's your coffee, have a great day. So that's the difference. I think in hospitality has always been about the human element. It shall continue to be about the human element. Yes, it can enhance the experiences in a manner where we would like personalization, what people are looking for. But can it do the job? No. That human element, the best case scenario should be high tech and high touch, both.
I think you painted a beautiful picture of that drive and the murthal and the parathas and everything. It really carried me with you as you were painting that. Let me come to Mr. Choudhary next, Parikshit. Online travel platforms, and I wanted to understand because it's really at the intersection of technology and the customer experience. But AI is a reality. It's very much part of it. If you're not going to be availing of the services of AI, you are going to fall behind. And I understand that even as a customer. But how are you using AI to personalize travel at scale? And Ms. Alex mentioned about personalization. If you can take that further relative to your platform.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much, Evan. First of all, I think I take the opportunity to thank Jyoti ji for giving MakeMyTrip an opportunity to come and talk at this fantastic forum. Okay, personalization, and before getting into personalization, if you look at online platforms per se, and I'm talking about the Amazons of the world, not essentially talking about OTAs to begin with, more used to be good. So when a customer used to come on the platform, Amazon would say selection, which is nothing but choices on the platform. More choices, more was your business, right? And that's how Amazon has built its business traditionally. And when I went into and came into online travel aggregation or platform play, Amazon's playbook was copied by everyone, where more was good. More hotels on the platform, it's good for the consumer to come, spend time on the platform, look at the choices and make those choices. That theory is actually now on its head. Now less is good, right? So, and that's where probably personalization come in, because traditional matrices like time spent on the platform are actually not the right metric now to look at when you think about conversion. Finally, end of the day, it's how quickly are you converting the user and how quickly is the user actually moving out from the platform. And that's where I think, whether we like it or not, AI would come in to play, where it would narrow down your choices so that the consumer is reaching to that right, decision-making point to kind of quickly do the checkout and move on with things. So time spent on the platform, less will suddenly be good. And that's where probably, personalization would come in. And just to kind of make the point a little more lucid, Shivin, if you look at a consumer, basis the type of travel the consumer is taking, the choices of travel change, right? For example, if you're taking a business trip, your choice of the hotel would be different when you're taking a leisure trip with family. It would be different when you're taking a leisure trip with friends. Now, that's where I think fundamentally personalization and AI would come in, where as a technology, it preempts what is your use case, and basis that, it personalizes the choices, which are very easy for you to kind of look at that and kind of click on it and move on with things. And that's where I think it's going to play a major role. I can go on and on, but I'll take a pause and give others a chance to kind of...
Mr. Parashar, I'll come to you with that. Are companies investing in technology more? Is it innovation which is for growth, or is it more resilience against disruption? Because we had a full discussion on disruption and resilience and how travelers have become more resilient. But the investment in technology, is it more for, is it innovation for growth, or is it resilience against disruption? How do you see it?
Yeah, thanks Jyoti ma'am. Thanks WION for inviting me. So a few years back, it was a no-brainer, it was growth. But we have seen and we have heard in the earlier discussions what disruption can do and how many types of disruption, be it health disruption, geopolitical, and so on and so forth. That really means that you have to have focus on growth, but in a resilient model. And that is where the big difference comes now. Where do you focus more? And that is clearly now the vote is, while growth is the way forward, but the platform, your automation has to be resilient to stand up to the shocks. It has to be shock proof. And how do you make it shock proof is the journey as far as the technology is concerned. So very specifically, it's a resilient model, but for growth, and the resilient model has to be shock proof.
Just for the sake of better understanding, sir, if you can just elaborate maybe with an example that we can kind of, which we've used or we've experienced, and then we can understand better what you're explaining.
Yes, so normally you would, just focus on what he explained about the growth. But today, you need to be secure, you need to be risk-proof, and when you ask for an example, so let me give you a very specific case. Artificial intelligence itself is a very, how should I say, a loosely used word, mixing between automation and artificial intelligence. And what artificial intelligence does is that it uses a lot of external data points. It plays on data and technology to produce what it is. Now, if I was to talk of a recent case, Anthropic case, and that's a specific citation is Barth versus Anthropic. What they did was they took all the data from the world, from all the authors, put it on the system. And that, while that gave you a lot of data points, but was the system resilient enough? The answer is no, because they did not take care of the security, they did not take care of the privacy. We had a case in ma'am's earlier organization, Marriott in Shanghai. I mean, they use biometric. Now, if you ask anybody here, what's the way to go into the hotel? Everybody will say biometric, right? But the point is, can you use biometric at the cost of privacy? Now, that's a resilience you require in the systems.
I hear your point. Ms. Chadha, let me come to you. How do you use technology to enhance and not just replace human touch? Because I understand, I think, and that's something the panelists have also elucidated further, that human touch is needed, but how do you use technology to enhance that human touch in that overall luxury experience that you provide to anybody who's coming to you? It's on, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Please.
And thank you for inviting me. For me, technology is only an enabler.
Understood.
For me, my motto is use technology, and I'm not a tech person at all, far from it. Use technology to process the predictable. Use human resources to elevate the experience. You cannot. It's both have to go hand in hand, but technology can only enhance the experience. It cannot define it.
I get your point.
Okay? So that's my first premise. And we are in a people's business. For me, nobody comes back to me to say, oh, my trip was so good because it was completely hassle-free and the technology was so good. They come back and say, what a good experience we had because we discovered new things. It was a meaningful engagement. We saw so much, we learned so much. And we felt good about the way we were handled. You can have people booking rooms on apps, booking airlines on apps, going on various websites to see reviews and all of that. But you cannot have somebody go with an unforgettable experience if there's no human touch. And I think we as an industry here, there's a gap somewhere. The question I ask myself is, what is it that we should not automate? I mean, my esteemed panelists here are all in that business, and everybody has talked about automation, and we do need it, whether it's AI or whatever it is. What is it that we don't need to automate so that we don't lose our human dignity? The basic premise of anyone in hospitality and tourism is bringing joy to other people's lives. We are touching people's lives who we do not know. How are we going to do that if there's no touch? There's no touch point. So it's, for me, this is my motto.
I take your point. Let me just add to that, because I don't think anyone feels that AI will eliminate human touch altogether. I don't get that sense from any of our panelists, but I feel that AI, if it is not employed, there will be a lapse somewhere because it is getting employed everywhere else. But let me come back to Ms. Alex with that. As far as AI is concerned, as far as technology is concerned, we've heard of AI concierge, then there is automation, which is becoming more and more common. Then there are digital check-ins, which we're seeing in the airports as well. We're seeing it. Also, we'll start seeing it soon enough in other locations. How does luxury service look like in the future with AI becoming more a part of it going forward? But as you mentioned, human touch, as ma'am mentioned, human touch cannot be eliminated. So how does the future of luxury look like as AI increases in relevance?
So, contrary to the belief that luxury is all about satin sheets and tapestry and carpets and gold-plated teacups and all of that, actually luxury is about emotion. If a hospitality company wants to get luxury right, it has to either train its people or hire people who get the emotion right, who preempt what the guest wants and delivers it even before it's asked for. And that's never ever going to change. AI, automation can help you achieve some level of that in your professional life, but it'll never be replaced. Now, one has to be very sensitive and smart about where is it that you want more automation. For example, most of us in this room use DigiYatra. And I think it's a damn good thing to happen.
I think everyone's used it.
Right?
Yeah, we're extremely convenienced by it too.
Extremely convenient. You don't have to stand in a queue.
Exactly.
And because so many people don't use it in India these days, you are the fastest. You go, you have a separate line even at security, and you are in. Because at the airport, time is of essence. You're not looking at people and trying to get the look and feel of the airport. No, because your ultimate aim is to get on that flight that you are meant to. In a hotel, you are paying for a different look and feel altogether. the luxury part of it. And hence it is important that that automation of say, human-less check-in, human-less check-out, things like that will never ever become popular. There might be a certain section of people who might opt for that, but I don't see that becoming a rule or a norm. That'll be more like an exception but we should have that, the ability as an organization to offer that, say, should you want it. So luxury is very, very different. Today, luxury is all about unique experiences. It is about personalization. It is about emotions, heavy emotions. Like ma'am said, you will never get a complaint from a guest saying, oh, my check-in took 2.5 minutes instead of 1.5 minutes that you hoteliers practice. But you will always get a complaint saying the person was not warm enough, or was not friendly enough, or did not preempt what I wanted. So I think that element always will remain, and it's better on our part as hoteliers to understand that element of luxury.
Perfect. I take your point. Mr. Parashar, I'll come to you with that. As far as, and I'll take it from what Ms. Chadha mentioned regarding we need to decide which part of technology we want to take and which part we don't want to take. But when we look at back-end infrastructure and how things function regarding hospitality, whether it's booking tickets, whether it's anything else, if any one part of that crashes, or the examples and apt examples that Ms. Alex shared regarding Google Maps taking you to Chandigarh, or whether your check-in experience, if even one part of it malfunctions, Wi-Fi goes down, one thing, what is the cascading effect that one is expected to face from your perspective?
So brittle or poorly integrated systems produce bad results. And it is critical that the back end is what is the heart, the power that is supplied. That you have a proper system and a mind application with regard to the workflows, with regard to integration of the different verticals of the business, and with speed. That is where artificial intelligence really comes in. One of the key factors of artificial intelligence is the speed and the data. Now, while the customer or the people deal with the front end, but what matters is the back end. The experience will not come from the front end. It will come from what is at the back end. So it is very critical that data flows, it's consistent, it's fast, it's personalized, and all of those elements that are required to make that integration back end. And it's not just about, artificial intelligence is just not about technology per se. It is data and technology merged to make new tools and new products that is offered in the market. So it is a more complex thing, and it is all at the back end and integration required. So you need to have all of your energy and all of your focus on the back end.
Understood. Mr. Choudhary, I'll come to you. I'd like to get your opinion on this. How do you feel technology is helping in improving real-time customer calls or support and issue-related support? How do you feel that helps in real time? Because that is one place where any customer would want it done at the earliest. So where does that help in?
Yeah, Shivin, the classic dilemma is that the booking today can happen in 2 seconds, but a resolution takes 72 hours. That doesn't work. That is not going to work in days to come, right? So, essentially, about 15 years ago, people would not believe that booking can happen in 2 seconds. Today, bookings can happen in 2 seconds. Today, people believe that resolutions can happen in 2 seconds. It will happen eventually. So where I'm getting with this is very, very simple. Just look at a data point, right? When you look at, call centers getting calls for resolution, the happy use case is 95%. 95% of the time, the user actually gets a happy use case. It's just that the 5% cases when the user is stuck, and that's the moment of truth, right? When the user is stuck. Typical example, gets into a hotel, the hotel room is not great, some issue with the room, And that's when you're kind of either calling the travel agent partner or the OTA from wherever you're booked, or even directly from the hotel, and kind of wanting the resolution to happen. Now, I fundamentally feel that their playbooks and human touch will be important to kind of do the resolution. But you would also see generic calls coming in, which are very contextual in nature, and there probably you don't need a human to kind of solve. For classic example, out of the 5% cases which are not happy when the user is calling up, we see 40% use cases where the user is actually calling up for general information. Understood. Is a pet allowed in the hotel? Now, I generally, ideally think that that information is available, but today the Gen Zs of the world are, if I might use a word, a little less workaholic to find that information. So if you take it to a conversational flow, right, and if that conversational flow is where the AI is answering in a very, very simple way, you don't need a human agent to kind of solve that, right? Understood. And it happens real time. So contextuality in certain use cases, I think AI is going to play a massive role in solving and giving a faster response, and the response needs to be relevant, right? Today in this day and age, we hear of AI hallucinating, right? And generally, that would take time. Yeah. Mr. Parashar was talking about the backend systems. Unless the data feeds are right, the LLMs will not work the way you would want them to work, right?
That's essential to make the flow conducive and to keep it real time and not to let things fall out of a basic pace that a customer would also be expecting. But thank you so much to all my panelists. I've been told we're really running short of time. Miss Alex, very quickly if you can.
Discussion's getting very heavy. And if I may, on a lighter note, say something.
Please go ahead.
How many baby boomers in this room? My age group, 50s, 45-ish. That's it? 4 of us? Okay. You will need us when the Wi-Fi turns off.
Ma'am, we need the generation all the time.
Because I feel our generation, the baby boomers, have been so good at doing Excels that should the AI or the tech go off, we will go back to Excels in a jiffy. So keep us entertained. We are very valuable for your system.
Round of applause. I think that definitely.
I just want to add one point.
Go, ma'am, please go.
That in this day and age of high tech or A-tech, whatever you want to call it, I think the new luxury is the personalized human touch.
Understood. I totally get your point.
I just want to end on that, because it's irreplaceable.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you need that. So you can be as techie as you want to be, but if you miss that little emotive touch and that connect.
I get your point.
Then as an industry, we have failed.
But thank you to all my panelists. We're really running short of time at this point, but very quickly would like to felicitate all our panelists who are here on the stage with us. Nikita, if we can just ask.
Thank you so much to all the esteemed panelists for a very engaging discussion.
And point totally taken on the baby boomers.
Yes.
Nothing takes away from that.
Absolutely not. Thank you so much, and would like to call Ms. Jyoti Mayal on stage, please, to kindly felicitate our panelists. Thank you. Thank you so much.